Your favorite NHL team may have more cap space than you think heading into this NHL trade deadline. And, I'm not talking about, clearing cap by trading players, by putting players on waivers. Teams can totally do that if they want to create some extra cap space, but they create cap space by actually paying their players. A couple weeks ago, I was talking about, an Elias Pettersson deal, to the Winnipeg Jets, a theoretical one. And there was a lot of people saying, yeah, this is a good idea, but where would all the money come from? The Jets need to clear a ton of cap space. They can't make that work. They need to fit that $11.6 million into the cap somehow, but they wouldn't be able to make that trade without clearing out, 2 to 3 roster players. But in reality, that's not so true. Now, if we look at the Winnipeg Jets cap situation, they have a projected $2.48 million of, cap just in general. At this point in the season, as I make this video on January 21st, 2025, they have $5.491 million with a deadline projected cap of over 11. How are they doing this? Well, really, every NHL team is able to do this if they're paying their players, which, every NHL team is obligated to do as they sign contracts. And the way this happens and the way this works is at the beginning of the season, teams start off with, their base cap. But as they go on every single day paying their players, think of it at like the halfway point of the season, you've paid out, roughly half of the player's contract. Well, you're not getting all of that money, but you're getting some of the money back that you're paying into your players, and it's inflating your cap space. So by the time the trade deadline rolls around, the Jets pretty much have $9 million more to spend in cap space, for this season than they would at the beginning of the season. And that's why you see a lot of teams wait until deadline day. They're trying to max out as much cap as they can. You see this with a lot of teams that are contending that are already, pretty close to the cap ceiling. They're trying to milk every single dollar that they can to spend on players to help them go for it. And it's a really smart strategy, to wait if you are able to wait that long and still get the quality player that you're trying to get on your team. And additionally, with the players that you're trying to acquire, as those players get paid, their cap hit for that season goes down as well. So obviously it doesn't stay that, the reduced cap hit for the remainder of their contract if they have any term past that season, but for that season, let's say a guy is getting paid $6 million and you trade for him on deadline day, you may only need to pay him, around 3.2 against the cap, right? It might be something like that. So you're able to have way more flexibility as the season goes on with your cap space. Now, at the end of the season, of course, this cap does go away. You don't get this inflated cap forever, so it does go back to whatever the cap space was at the beginning of the season. And, with the cap inflation, cap goes up every year. The cap would go up some more, and that's what it would be set to, and then rinse and repeat. But yeah, so this is how teams are able to spend so much cap space at the deadline because they're paying their players and they're earning more money back into their cap pool. Now, another way that this happens, the more commonly known one, is LTIR, long-term injured reserve. And this is really no, secret. We've talked about this for a while here in the NHL, best known with the Vegas Golden Knights, a lot of people accusing them of cheating. It is a totally, viable option. Colorado Avalanche have had Gabe Landeskog on IR, or LTIR, I should say, for the better part of 2 years now. And it's just a tool that teams can use to create cap space. However, it's not really ideal because, you don't have that player long term. Maybe some teams can wait without that player. Some teams are, grossly talented, like the Vegas Golden Knights. But it would just be so much more beneficial if you didn't have to put that player on LTIR for longer. Of course, it's an injury. Guy goes on LTIR, can't really help that, but just out of the two, it makes a lot more sense to grow your cap organically than, artificially, and then have to deal with it in the off season. But with the prorated contracts, paying your players to earn more cap, that's a large reason why you don't see a lot of trades until, January or February. You might see the 1 or 2 here and there, but a big reason teams don't make trades early on in the season, unless forced to a lot of the time because of injury or, a disgruntled player, it's because they're trying to bank cap space. So this is why beginning of the season, it's usually pretty quiet on the trade, market up until, maybe mid-December. That's when chatter starts going on. That's when teams start to figure out what they want to do, figure out where they are in the season. But I think it's really interesting, with the prorated contracts, because this is something that, you'd think would be more complicated, but really it's just, the percentage of cap space that you're paying your player, you are getting that back. So, in the end, the cap world can be confusing, can be a little bit strange, but this one seems pretty straightforward. So, yeah, I just thought I'd make this video just with all the confusion, with some of the trade deadline videos that I've been making, and, people commenting, and, people on Twitter just asking me, how would the Jets do this? How would they clear that amount of space? They'd have to give up 2 to 3 roster spots, or roster players rather, just to make this happen. I don't know if this is the right move to make, right? But in reality, the Jets have been banking cap space all year long. They have over $5 million as we speak. Currently, we'll have closer to, over $11 million on deadline day. So just wanted to make that video to clear this up. I think it's really interesting. But yeah, so let me know what you thought about the video in the comments down below. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Jets, go! Bye-bye.